In the last 2 decades, policy changes in the United States have had far-reaching effects on the legal global cocaine trade in Mexico. Here, we will explore how these policy changes have affected the Mexican drug war that still rages on today. First, let's start with a recent history of Mexican drug trafficking rings. Before the 1990s, drug trafficking rings were abundant in the Caribbean islands between South America and the United States, due to advantageous geography and weak law enforcement. Once the United States began drug interdiction agreements with Caribbean countries, the drug rings in the area began to move through Mexico, where interdiction efforts had not yet been realized. This shift has lasting results that are evident today, with Mexico still being the primary route for cocaine trafficking from South America. However, with policy changes in the US, the cocaine market is further shifting away from North America. Data on the street price of cocaine was collected from 50 countries, and it shows there is a highly lucrative market for cocaine in Europe. But Colombian cartels have the upper hand here because of their controlled trafficking routes through Africa to Europe. Mexico has yet to gain access to these prime routes. Decriminalization may be one reason why the European cocaine market is growing. Most countries indicate that cocaine is illegal, but some countries allow the possession of cocaine medically. Certain countries in South America and Europe have cocaine decriminalized, leading to the potential of higher cocaine use frequency in these countries. While Mexican cartels do not control the ideal trafficking routes into Europe, they have long held control over trade routes into the US at the southwest border. But crackdowns by both the US and Mexican governments have seen a decrease in the amount of cocaine trafficked across the border, but an increase in the number of homicides seen in towns on either side of the border. This is experienced dramatically more in Mexican cities, whose average both years was 14 times higher than the average of their American counterparts. The increase of violence coupled with the closing of alternate trade routes has been detrimental to the livelihoods of people living in regions close to the border or with a heavy cartel presence. The poverty found in these areas drives people to make a living from illegal activities. Sex work is one example of this, as many of the cocaine trafficking portal cities are also major sex trafficking sites. This is no coincidence. Desperate financial situations drive people to participate in illicit industries, and oftentimes also lead people to use drugs. Thus, the two industries perpetuate one another. Severe approaches to drug policy by US and Mexican governments have been successful in reducing the cocaine supply in North America. However, this has driven the cocaine market outside of the continent and in turn created deadly conditions for Mexican citizens at home. Violence levels have skyrocketed as cartels war over remaining trafficking routes and turf, and high levels of addiction and poverty soar in Mexican communities. The actions taken by the US government have improved conditions within North America, but not necessarily within the countries that bear the brunt of this war.